hone in on unions. There are concerns that the current power crisis could force companies to reduce working hours. Eskom has announced on Sunday that it is considering stage 2 load shedding for the next 24 months. We're joined now for more perspective by Mike Shingange. He is the Deputy President of COSATU. Thank you very much, sir, for availing yourself this afternoon. So yesterday we heard from the chairman of the board talking about in the 112 days they've been in office, they've had 50 meetings with various committees. They've had 20 meetings as a board. Taking a look at the outlook for workers, what does it look like as Eskom, it would seem, is seized with the matter of solving the crisis?
No, thank you very much, and afternoon to your viewers. Indeed, it's a serious crisis. I mean, we do think that both the previous board and the government delayed to confront the issue of the maintenance of the infrastructure of energy generation and supply, to a point where we are facing not less than 10 hours of load shedding a day. And there's no workplace, there's no company that can function without electricity. And especially the small businesses, that they are the ones that intensively utilize energy. They've already closed down some of them. And with the announcement by the port of the almost 24 months continuous uninterrupted load shedding is a disaster for our country. I mean, unless if we have come to a point where we have agreed that energy is no longer central to economic growth and creating jobs, we can't, as a country, afford a 24 months blackout.
What are your workers telling you?
Our workers are losing working hours. This is worse than during the COVID, when there was an understanding that the country is on a shutdown. There was a reprieve that was being given to the various companies. There's no intervention that has been made to the industries that are unable to function now because of the cut of the supply of generation. Workers are not working, including the very vulnerable workers, as I said, in the small businesses, but also even the domestic workers, because they are losing jobs now because the employers who themselves are not able to earn salaries where they work, but also in their households there's nothing there. So it's very difficult, Israel. And like I'm saying, there are companies that have already put up notices for either people must reduce working hours, or they must work on rotation, or actually they are going to close down their businesses.
Meaning that they're losing money, the workers being?
The workers are losing money, but of course we also understand that the business themselves are losing money. Not all business losing money, but also the workers and the majority of the working class are losing even the perishables that they are buying out of meager salaries that they get. You remember that we just got an 18% increase on tariffs hike, but these workers have not been getting even a 5% salary increase where they work. They will have saved throughout last year and bought goods in bulk for the festive season. All of those things got rotten because there was no supply of electricity. It's just a disaster in the communities.
You alluded to the fact that perhaps this could have been avoided if there was maintenance, right, on the part of Eskom. Do you feel as COSATU that you have done enough to lobby for the interests of the worker by putting pressure on government to fix the situation at Eskom?
No, we did. In fact, if there's one thing that we came out collectively, not just as COSATU, but as level, in terms of proposing solutions, is this matter of the energy. When we realized in around 2019 that actually a lot of workers are going to lose jobs, a lot of economy is not going to be able to create, we lobbied government, we lobbied business. We came into what is now known as an Eskom social compact, in which we propose a number of interventions, including offering the loan that we as workers through the PIC have given to Eskom, that we are going to turn that loan into equity, so that Eskom does not have to return that money, but we do turn into equity. And we lobbied the development financial institutions that they must put money there. The business, they made commitment. It was signed as a compact in the NEDLEC by three parties, the government, the business, and labor. But today it has not been implemented. They have put that shelf down. In that compact, we were also proposing the issue of making sure that all the billions that the Eskom is owed by municipalities, by the government departments, there must be a debt recovery plan, including by communities. We're proposing how to prudently manage the money that is there, because now that we're going to turn our money that is there into equity, we're going to have a stake with it. But all of those has not been done. To date, now that we have reached the crisis that we have reached in now, we have called for the president to at least declare a state of national disaster along the same line of the COVID-19 so that it can access resources on an emergency basis to enable Eskom, whether it's diesel that they need, whether it's coal that they need, whether it's buying the spare parts that could be broken in the infrastructure that's dilapidated, they must be able to access those resources in as quickly as possible, in the same way that we bought ventilators, machines, we bought PPEs, we bought vaccine in the last 2 years.
How should we understand that call, right? We know what happened with monies that were meant to go to the most vulnerable during COVID-19 that were misused. And so with these money, what sort of checks and balances will be in place, especially on your part, to make sure that monies, A, go to where they're supposed to? And also, we also heard about how some workers from the chairperson of the board are not motivated, speaking about incentivizing workers and incentivizing power plants to do well. So it would appear that it's not just a money issue. There are issues that are far-reaching that are plaguing Eskom, including management.
No, of course, including management, but of course, including government decision way back in 1998 that they decided to disinvest in Eskom, because the issue of the ailing infrastructure could have been avoided had government not decided deliberately that actually they are working on a project and a process of actually dislodging Eskom, being the central power generator and distribution in this country. They wanted to privatize it. But yes, the experience is always the best teacher. I mean, of course, there's corruption all over the place in our life now in the country. But the lessons we learned during COVID and how the money that was mobilized to save lives was at some point found itself in the wrong hands or wrong pockets, misused. It's something that must work as a wake-up call for us. And so that we better manage, because what other options do we have to try and mobilize on an urgent basis rather than to wait for 24 months, because that is an economic suicide, as I'm saying. It's a moratorium on economic growth. It's a moratorium on creating or preventing job losses. If you think that you can run for 24 months without a consistent supply of energy, and you hope that the economy will continue and hope that jobs are not going to be lost. And it's true, in the workplaces, particularly in the state-owned institutions, there is a low morale of staff. So it's a fact that the board, the management will have to look into to incentivize and motivate workers, because if you go to a workplace motivated, you want to go and work, and your equipment just broke down and you have there's nothing you can do about it. How can you not be demotivated? How can you not be demotivated when every day society and public think that you are responsible as a worker, as a poor ordinary employee there, who have got no decision-making powers, who have got no engineering capacity problem, probably, but you are the ones to be blamed for all the problems that are happening, which is as a result of neglect, is as a result of deliberate decisions taken by both the management, the board, and the government. There's no way you can be demotivated. I don't want to talk about the fact that as things stand today, they are not even as sufficiently staffed as they would have been. I don't want to talk about the issue of the remunerations in terms of the salary. They have to try and go and strike a year in and year out in order to try and get an inflation plus increase. So there cannot be an expectation that they will be demoralized. Of course they are demoralized.
We are going into an election year next year. In trying to measure COSATU's relevance when we talk about the worker and people who are behind you, the people who have signed up to say, you will be our defenders, right? How relevant would you score yourselves, or in terms of scoring yourselves, would you say you are relevant? I think I go back to a May Day rally when the president was booed and workers refused for him to address them. And so do you not see a train that is coming for COSATU as well, where the cost of living crisis is ongoing? Here we have, the electricity crisis as well, and where is COSATU?
COSATU is here. COSATU is here, it's speaking for the workers, and the workers are speaking for themselves, because the COSATU is the workers themselves. They congregate themselves to form unions that at the end of the day they constitute COSATU. I just don't know the relevance about the election and COSATU, because COSATU doesn't contest elections. So
you're an alliance partner of the ruling
but
party.
we don't contest elections as COSATU. So
you are seen to
we're
be
not
close
going to
the
be, as
ruling
COSATU,
party.
we're not going to be judged at an election level. Those who are governing the country, those who are taking decisions, whether or not to invest in the energy generations or not, are the ones who are going to have to answer to electorates.
You seem to have the ear of the ruling party, and so what is it that you're whispering in their ear that impacts the everyday person, that impacts the everyday worker?
We're not whispering anymore now. We're speaking loud even now. That's why I'm saying that we thought there was a consensus about around 2019 about what is it that could be an intervention on Eskom. We could have managed a planned a load shedding that is deliberate, because you are trying to shut down some plants because you are maintaining them. Now we are faced with a load shedding that is uncontrolled, it's not planned, it just happened, it's a forced load shedding. But at that time, our plan was that you must be deliberate, that I'm shutting down this plant because I want to maintain it for an hour or two or a week, so that the society will be taken on board, society will be prepared, and they know we're having load shedding because there's something that has been done to refurbish the infrastructure. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. As I say even to you now, we are calling for the Minister of Finance, when they make the budget for 2023-2024, to try and alleviate some of the financial burdens that Eskom is had on an urgent basis, in order to make sure that they buy the equipment that is needed. And also we're calling for a state of the nation, of the national disaster. We did say whisper, not necessarily whisper. In fact, when the president was on a crusade of meeting everybody else now, Labour was part of that. These are the suggestions we put on the table. That they take them or they do not take them, it can't be us who are now held accountable. I mean, it's not just COSATU that will say things to the government and things are not get done. It's everybody in South Africa. Everybody speaks. The president, the government, the Eskom will choose what they think is best for them. And that's why we're saying we cannot afford as a country to commit an economic suicide by thinking that we will go for 24 months without. We don't have for 24 months. I don't want to talk about the election. I'm talking about the crisis of the economy. It's worse as it is now. The country can't afford another 24 months without electricity.
Thank you very much, sir, for coming through this afternoon. Mike Shingange is the Deputy President of COSATU.